I just wanted to, first of all, thank you for this conversation, which is so important. Um, I just want to say that I had previously a lot of fear around, you know, these groups that might form and breaking into my home and all of this. And I actually sat with that and asked myself, um, could I bring myself to kill another human being?
Mm,
And the answer was so clear. No.
mm,
It was no. That was my answer. Not everybody's answer, but that was my answer.
mm.
And then I got to the point where it's like I would I would probably offer food. I have a freezer full of food. I'd probably offer food. But ever since I had that conversation with you about about not knowing in relationship and the freedom that has been
Yeah.
experienced here and that is
Wonderful.
ongoing. It is ongoing now.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And what it is also is this absolute trust
Yeah.
in life. There's a place that I never knew existed where it's an absolute trust in life that no matter what the outer circumstances look like, they offer my opportunity for growth and for presence and for, as you say, heart to heart. And trusting life has been such a game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is when you were talking about heart to heart, what I find is that as I'm moving through the world, I find ways to connect. And one of the great and easy ways to connect with people is so many people have tattoos now,
Mm.
right? They're like
Huh.
everywhere. And so I ask, like, what does your tattoo looks so interesting. Tell me about it. What meaning does it have for you? Well, I have to tell you, I walked in. My husband had a doctor's appointment this morning. We walked in, and the nurse had this tattoo all along her arm. And I asked her about it, and she lifted her so I could see it clearly. She pulled back her shirt so I could see it clearly. And she said, and she told me a little bit. And then she said, and this represents 3 attempted suicides
Yeah.
within 3 minutes of talking with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to offer that up. That's a very easy way to connect with people, and people are so ready to share heart to heart so
Yeah.
intimately,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so intimately.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
love
that's
that.
how we started by talking about Americans in Europe and that's one thing that I really, really love about Americans. That no matter who I meet, they are so open.
Yeah.
Americans are so open and so open-hearted and so curious and so um, really wanting to connect. It's much, much easier to connect with Americans than any of the other countries I've been traveling to.
Mhm.
So it's
Interesting.
yeah, it is, particularly since there's so much division here.
Yeah.
But it's really if you just put down your weapons and meet other people with an open heart, then they are, and we know that from the street we live in.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, like we went to a neighborhood block party over the summer, and it's so funny because it's like, I mean, we basically know most of the people anyway, but like everybody's just talking about all their health stuff and everything that they've been doing for like the past so many months, and it's like we don't really have the filters of
no,
like, I'm keeping this stuff private, and it's like everybody's just very open
but and that's a
with
very,
everything.
very
Yeah.
American trait. So I completely understand what you say, Irene, that you asking, oh, that's really interesting with that tattoo. Tell me about it. That within 3 minutes she's already talking about suicide attempts. And you're right, it's a beautiful, beautiful way to connect with people.
I found that even I used to go to, well, I mean, I still do, but like just talking to cashiers at like Whole Foods or something, and somehow within the first couple exchanges, they would end up talking about their mental health and stuff that's going on, and it's like I think it's really wonderful that we're also losing so many of the stigmas about that sort of
Yeah,
things now, that it is more accepted to start being open about even those things of,
yeah,
one I had talked to and it was like, yeah, I've been out for a couple months. I was having, depression and anxiety and things like that. And it's like wonderful that we're getting to the point where we can just own it and just say, this is an experience that, you know, I was having, and
Mm.
there's no shame involved with, you know, it's not a fundamental fault of mine that I experience depression or anxiety or something. It's like a human trait that we're able to then
But
to talk about.
again, it's also because that you have been in that
Yeah.
room, so you are open. Like you, Irene, she could probably feel that she could share with you
Yeah.
about, you know, suicide attempts. So it's also what we bring into the conversation, which level of openness and warmness do we bring to the conversation, and that always starts with how we have healed ourselves.
Absolutely. And you know, when she told me she had 3 suicide attempts, and I said, "Oh, hey, I attempted suicide once when I was 24. I know exactly what that feels like to be in that place." And
Yeah,
when
Yeah.
she left the room, I mean, she made it a point to really look into my eyes. She knew she was being recognized and seen, and
yeah,
that's what people are thirsty for, is being recognized, being seen, being heard. People are starving for that in this
yeah.
country.
Absolutely.
Starving.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And it is where the healing happens.
Absolutely.
And again, if when we talk about, because obviously there's here a lot of talk about how the MAGA movement can even be, but it is really the voiceless that are being seen. I mean, if when you see the MAGA people being interviewed, and I don't like those interviews that Democrat makes with MAGA people to ridicule them. I don't like those interviews. But you see the people that clearly they were not in the league, in the top league in middle school or in high school, and maybe they dropped out of and never went to college. And now suddenly they have a group where they belong. They can take on the red hat, and they have a community with like-minded people where they count, where they matter. And I mean, it's all what any one of us needs to feel, that we count and that we matter. So
Absolutely.
if we can meet people and give them the feeling that they count and that they matter without a hat on, then they don't need it.
That's
Like,
right. That's right. Absolutely. I think that's where the power lies, and that's where
yeah,
the transformation lies. Is it isn't about anything else. It is exactly as you say, it's heart to heart.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Irene. Good to see
Thanks,
you again.
Erin.
And then we have Janine.